Girl, imagine calling out city leaders day after day, bragging that nobody can touch you, and then your own name gets dropped on a 911 call for murder. Make it make sense. Jackson, Mississippi already stays loud when it comes to politics, but this case, it's next level messy. Two men out here preaching peace. One ends up shot 9 times. The other, William the Cipher Edwards, sits in a jail cell saying he didn't do it. Anyways, let's rewind so you can see how wild this road really is. Jackson is the heart of Mississippi and the drama capital of the state. Council meetings here turn into shouting matches so fast you'd think it's open mic night. People storm out, gavels slam, threats fly. Make it make sense. Into that chaos stepped William Irvin Edwards. Folks know him by a bunch of names: Napoleon on Facebook, the Cipher on his radio show, Polo to the people close to him. He built his own talk show, the Cypher Voice, mixing hot takes with documents he claimed were straight facts. He called himself a community activist fighting corruption. Thousands followed him online because he always had a new target, and he said the quiet part out loud. But hey, the way Polo moved wasn't all talk. He pushed limits and courts kept letting him walk. Back in 2016, he went after Pastor Roderick Richardson, accusing him of messing with a church member and stealing money. The pastor said those claims were lies. A jury actually convicted Polo of felony slander and gave him 5 years. Moving on, an appeals court threw it out, saying the charge violated his free speech rights. Polo spun that as a big win, telling people he beat the system. Make it make sense, that victory only turned the volume up. Next came Hinds County Supervisor David Archie. Archie already had a rep for wild outbursts at public meetings. Polo dragged him on air almost daily, even waving around paperwork he claimed proved Archie was a felon. Problem was, the documents were for a completely different David Archie, different birth date and all. So what? The accusation still spread like wildfire. Then Polo hopped on a live stream and said, "I'm gonna shoot that Foshi caliber out at all 3 of them. I'm gonna line those sons of guns up and execute them with information, news that you can use." His lawyer later stressed those last 2 words. Authorities weren't laughing. U.S. Marshals rolled up on him with guns drawn and arrested him for cyberstalking. He sued the city after that, saying they were trying to shut him down for exercising his First Amendment rights. While all that noise kept the city buzzing, another name carried a whole different kind of respect: Robert Bobby Davis, founder of the Better Men's Society. Bobby was the guy who showed up for kids with no father figure, organized cleanups, fed the homeless, read to school kids, and even rescued folks from burning cars. Like, this man was hands-on with the community every single day. People called him a hero because he lived the work. Make it make sense that these 2 men, one shaking up city politics, one saving lives, would cross paths in tragedy. Here's where the story folds in on itself. Shadow Robinson, a single mom and real estate hustler, knew Bobby through work. She also knew Polo in a whole nother way. He chased her for years on social media, liking every post, sliding in messages until she finally answered. They started dating, but Shadow says it was never that serious for her. When she tried to end it, Polo didn't want to let go. Girl, he kept popping up with treats for her kids, texting her like love could fix the breakup. Those messages turned jealous quick, especially when Bobby started coming around to help her with house projects. May 1st, 2022, a Sunday that started like any other and ended in gunfire. Shadow spent the morning catching up on work. Bobby, always the helper, stopped by her house on Hannah Drive in Clinton with groceries and offered to cook for the kids. Cornbread was on the menu. Make it make sense, just a neighborly favor turning into a nightmare. Around 5 in the evening, Shadow says she spotted a black Ford F-450 pulling into her driveway. According to her, that was Polo's truck. She told Bobby he was outside. Bobby looked out the window, shrugged it off, and kept cooking. Oh, so now we're just ignoring the ex showing up uninvited? Anyways, moments later, Shadow hears a burst of pops. Not 1, not 2, over and over. She runs toward the sound and finds Bobby face down near the doorway. She says Polo was standing over him with a handgun. Then he slid the weapon into his waistband, ran out, jumped in the truck, and sped off. Shadow's children were in the house while all this was happening. Let me tell you something. Those babies could have been caught in that crossfire, period. Shadow immediately calls 911 and gives Polo's name, the truck description, the whole situation as she saw it. That call becomes the backbone of the entire case. Police arrive to find Bobby dead inside the door. He's been shot 9 times. Investigators recover 6 shell casings, but 2 different brands of ammunition. Forensics show at least 2 bullets came from the same 9mm gun, but the rest are inconclusive. No murder weapon is recovered. So what? No gun, 2 ammo brands, and a hallway soaked in chaos. Minutes after the 911 call, a security camera from a nearby skating rink captures a black Ford F-450 rolling away. The timestamp fits the window of the shooting almost perfectly. A neighbor says he heard the shots and saw a black pickup truck leaving the area. None of this is a smoking gun, but the timing keeps pointing in the same direction. Clinton detectives call the number listed for William Edwards, thinking maybe he's the victim. Polo answers. They talk a few times, and he agrees to turn himself in, but only when his lawyer can be present. Days pass. He takes a trip first north, then down to New Orleans. Police finally arrest him there. Searches begin. Shadow's home is checked 3 days after the shooting. She told officers there were no guns inside. With her record, she wasn't allowed to own one. Still, police find 9mm ammunition that does not match the bullets that killed Bobby. They also discover Bobby's cell phone sitting in her closet days later. Make it make sense. Why didn't that come up earlier?
On the Cipher show, Edwards is no stranger to challenging local government officials on their policies, but it's this statement Supervisor Archie called a threat.
I'm gonna shoot that 50 caliber at all three of them. I'm gonna line them sun guns up, and I'm gonna execute all three of them with information, news that you can use.
We want to send a clear-cut message to these low-down and dirty gut bucket thugs that are running around here. I'm gonna stand up and I'm gonna fight.
Alongside his lawyer, Williams told us the allegations took his statements out of context.
Prior to that comment, I said that the information that I was saying now is small compared, it was like a 22 compared to the information that will be released later that will be like a 50 cal. This information will execute each one of you.
According to the Petal Schools District, referenced by the Attorney General's office, cyberstalking charges are classified as a felony and occur if one is threatening to bodily harm a person, his family, or property, or communicate repeated harassment to a person.
He said information, not bullets, not weapons, not anything that could cause bodily harm.
The defendant's argument continues with how the arrest was made. According to Edwards, it was done by U.S. Marshals when he arrived at work. He said they didn't have the warrant immediately on them.
When I got ready to exit the vehicle, several SUVs blocked me in and got out with weapons drawn. They were all U.S. Marshals. They told me, put my hands up in the air. I said, well, why is the U.S. Marshal here? He says, we received this from James Davis.
To Attorney Robinson, important steps in the legal process were ignored, and constitutional rights for the community are at risk.
David Archie said he contacted James Davis personally. It's what my client and his supporters are saying. We intend to subpoena every record of their cell phone.
At the heart of this case is Edwards accusing Supervisor Archie of being convicted of felons like sexual battery. Even when it comes to being charged, Archie denied all accusations.
The answer is no, that I am not a convicted felon. The answer is no, that I have not been arrested for a felony.
Well, not exactly. We did some digging after Supervisor Archie refused to specify what information Edwards said was true. We discovered in 1996, before he was a supervisor, the man was arrested for sexual battery in DeKalb County, Georgia. But the charges were later dropped. Then on September 7th of 2016, Archie was also arrested for domestic violence, but again was never convicted. And those at JPD only found misdemeanors on his rap sheet.
Polo's house in Jackson is searched next. Detectives find a 9mm gun case with 4 live rounds but no gun. They search the black pickup he'd been driving for months, owned by a friend, and find more 9mm rounds. Still no weapon. Moving on. Then there's the phone data. Cell towers show Polo's phone leaving his home in Jackson a little after 5 p.m. pinging near Hannah Drive just minutes before the shooting, then heading away shortly after the 911 call. It's not GPS, but that pattern is hard to brush off. Defense attorneys dig up another twist. Back in 2001, Shadow shot and killed her ex-boyfriend Linnell Moore. She claimed self-defense, but a jury convicted her of manslaughter. She served time before getting out early. Girl, you already know the defense planned to use that to question her credibility and paint a pattern. By summer 2023, the case finally lands in court. Prosecutors tell the jury that William Polo Edwards drove to Shadow Robinson's house, shot Robert Bobby Davis 9 times, and left. They lean on Shadow's eyewitness account. The cell tower pings, the black truck on camera, and the neighbor who heard the shots. They remind the jury that Polo's own phone shows movement from Jackson toward Clinton right before the gunfire and back toward Jackson right after. Make it make sense, right? The defense fires back hard. They keep saying, look at the evidence, it's all built on one witness. Shadow Robinson is the only person who claims to have seen Polo pull the trigger. No murder weapon, no fingerprints, no DNA. Cell tower data is not GPS. It shows coverage zones, not exact spots. A black truck on a blurry camera is not proof of who drove it. Girl, they question everything from start to finish. Shadow takes the stand for 2 long days. Prosecutors walk the jury through her text messages with Polo, messages filled with love declarations, jealous questions, and late-night photos. She reads the ones where Polo tells her she'll regret rejecting him. The night before the shooting, he sent a picture of the 2 of them together while she slept. Moving on, she explains how she saw him pull up, how she heard the shots, and how she saw him standing over Bobby with the gun before running out. Defense attorney Tom Fortner goes in on cross-examination. He asks if it even makes sense for a shooter to tuck a hot 9mm straight into his waistband after firing multiple rounds. He presses her on the ammunition found in her house and the fact that Bobby's cell phone was sitting in her closet for days. He keeps coming back to her past, reminding the jury that in 2001 she shot and killed an ex-boyfriend and was convicted of manslaughter. Let me tell you something, the tension in that courtroom could cut glass. Shadow admits she shot her ex but insists she isn't a violent person unless she's forced to defend herself. The defense paints her as someone with a history of deadly relationships. Prosecutors counter that she called 911 in real time, gave Polo's name, described his truck, and never changed her story. Make it make sense, they say that kind of immediate call is hard to fake. The jury hears about the missing gun, the unmatched ammunition, and the cell tower records. They see the camera footage of the black pickup driving past a skating rink less than a minute after the 911 call. They learn that Polo delayed turning himself in and took a road trip before finally being arrested in New Orleans. The state argues those delays show consciousness of guilt. The defense says he was just protecting himself from a system that already had it out for him. So what? Each side throws everything they have. After days of testimony and hours of closing arguments, the jury goes back to deliberate. 1 day passes. 2 days. They send notes saying they can't agree. Some jurors believe Polo is guilty. Others say the evidence is too thin. Judge Faye Peterson declares a mistrial. Period. The case resets like nothing happened, except Bobby Davis is still gone and Polo is still locked up waiting.
I went to the kitchen first. I said, Robert, the kitchen is right outside of my bedroom. So I went in the kitchen and I said to Robert, he was on the facing this side of the counter making cornbread. And I said, Robert, why is Polo pulling up in my driveway? And he said, huh? And he looked out the window and he saw verify, okay, well, he's coming up the driveway. And he said, don't worry about it, I handle it.
Did he eventually go to the store?
Apparently.
And describe for us what you saw or what you heard you saw.
Well, when I sat down and I heard just pop, 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 just over and over nonstop. And I just started, I grabbed my ears and I started yelling. I was hollering, like, Robert, wait. Because I thought my mind went into, he was moving around in my pantry. I didn't know, that was odd. When you think hindsight, that was odd. So I'm thinking, when he was bringing the grocery in, he made a few trips. So I'm thinking maybe he brought a gun in. Maybe he had a gun. Maybe it was him doing the shooting. I didn't think that it would be, I never thought I would see what I saw when I hit the hallway.
So you thought maybe it was him. Did he actually have a firearm that day?
Who?
Robert?
No.
So what did you see when you came back around?
I saw Robert face down in the end of the hallway, like the tip of the door. He was face down. I saw Polo, Miss Evans, standing over him basically. And I saw him with the gun. And he put a gun in his waist.
That was what I was going to ask. What did he do with the gun?
Put it in his waist.
The Hinds County District Attorney steps outside the courthouse and promises the fight isn't over. They say the evidence is strong and they will retry the case until there's a verdict. Polo fires his attorney Tom Fortner and hires new counsel. His new team files motions asking the judge to step down, claiming that live stream coverage of the first trial led to memes of her facial expressions and could compromise fairness. As of now, a retrial date hasn't been set. While lawyers file paperwork and arguments stack up, life outside the courtroom keeps moving. Bobby Davis's Better Men Society continues to mentor young men, feed families, and expand chapters across Mississippi and beyond. His friends say they honor him by carrying on the work he loved. They still march against violence, still read to kids, still show up where trouble lives, and Jackson politics still chaotic. Remember Supervisor David Archie, the man Polo once threatened to execute with information. He lost his next election just like Polo predicted. Archie claims election fraud and is fighting the results in court. Meanwhile, federal investigators drop a separate indictment on other city leaders, alleging bribes and shady deals in the hundreds of thousands. Make it make sense, this city just refuses to quiet down. As for William the Cipher Edwards, he sits in the Tallahatchie County Correctional Facility waiting on that second murder trial. He still claims innocence. Supporters say he's a political target. Detractors say he finally crossed the line he'd been dancing on for years. And Shadow Robinson, the only eyewitness to the killing, carries a past and a testimony that will follow her into any future courtroom. Two men, both loud about saving their city, one buried with 9 gunshot wounds, one waiting for a jury to decide if he's the killer or the victim of a system that doesn't like his voice. The truth? It's tangled in missing weapons, old grudges, and a hallway where 9 bullets changed everything. Viewers, you decide. Make it make sense. That's the story, y'all. A radio voice who swore he was untouchable, a community hero who spent his days saving lives, and a witness whose own past keeps the questions wide open. A gun that never turned up. Cell towers that talk but don't testify, and a city that keeps buzzing even when the courtroom doors are locked for the night. Whether you think William the Cipher Edwards is a fighter for free speech caught in a bad setup, or a man whose anger finally exploded, the truth is still waiting for its day. Make it make sense for yourself, because in Jackson, Mississippi, nothing stays quiet for long. If this story had you hooked, hit that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments.